Hi everyone, and welcome to the Aquarius Sun, Moon, and Rising Spiritual Connection reading. Welcome! This is I Am Illuminated Tarot and meaning-based spiritual coaching services. All content on this channel as well as on my website are here to help introduce you to meaning-based spiritual coaching as well as the Triad of Engagement, which is a tool I've developed to help show you the importance of working with the three basic principles of curiosity, courage, and contemplation, and how when applied together, they can help keep you fully engaged and feeling in flow with the unique energetic imprint of your life. Additionally, all content is here to help you answer your very own I am question so that you can re-engage with life in a more authentic, meaningful, and emotionally fulfilling way. If you'd like to learn more about the Triad of Engagement, I have filmed 2 instructional videos. The links to both are in the description box below. And let's get right into your reading. So, Aquarius, what is a spiritual connection reading? Well, we are taking a look here today at your unique spiritual energy, which is your internal self. And we're looking to see how that is connecting with your external environment. So we are going to take a look. Actually, let me get a chance to shuffle these cards a little bit more. We're going to take a look at your energy, Aquarius, and this is perfect for Aquarius. This is the Knight of Swords. This is a card associated with air, which is your sign, Aquarius. And right off the bat, what I'm feeling for you guys is there's this calling to go out and kind of just like what this person's doing right here in this card, if you can see it, is go out and express your truth. So the Knight of Swords the energy itself can kind of be a brash energy. It's one of forward movement. It's one that is based around communication. And sometimes this energy can be a little brash. It can be a little rough around the edges. This is somebody who kind of swoops in, speaks their truth, and is kind of uncompromising in how they share that. But it's also a necessary energy. So it's an energy when we feel that we have to share our truth, that we have to take action, and we have to take forward movement. And at some point in our lives, this is an energy we all have to tap into. So I'm going to take a look now and see what the energy of your external environment looks like and really why you're being called to engage with your external environment now and what you're going to learn about your internal self through engaging with your external environment. So let's take a look here at what is your external energy. Oh, Wheel of Fortune. Awesome. Wheel of Fortune is a card of movement. It's a card of, well, when you think about it, it's getting the wheel turning. It's forward movement. There's an element here of actually the divine or destiny playing a part in this. So this is really perfect as far as when we're talking about our external environment and we're really looking at the external environment is the place where we can't control things, which is often why we build a protective barrier against our internal unique selves and engaging that with our external environment because we can't control things in our external environment. And that includes people as well as events and situations. And so often this can be scary. You know, a lot of people wait around for change to occur, beneficial change to occur. But oftentimes we start to feel afraid when that change starts to take place, when that wheel actually does start to turn, because then we actually have to step up and into and work with changing some component of our lives. Now, for you to see the dynamic between these two, I think what's going on right now is that there's this element of really stepping into the power of your sign. So Aquarius, you are an air sign. and you are the fixed air sign. So there is this component to your sign where you can, even though you have this beautiful ability to connect in an imaginative space to the upper levels of, I think, the spiritual realm, there is this element of sometimes, I'm sorry, being distracted by something that's going on outside my window right now, but bringing this back to your message here, that there's sometimes this inability to, or not inability, but you can see so much. And you are a fixed sign. And so there is this component of not wanting to work with the element of change so easily. And don't worry, I am a fixed sign as well. My sun sign is a Taurus, so I know what it's like to be a fixed sign. There is this element, again, of a little bit of resistance to change. But you are a sign which is, interestingly enough, associated with kind of this broader view which leads to change. And so I think right now, really what, as an Aquarius, you are being asked to do is to realize that the external world is calling you and calling you to step into the change. And in order to do that, you're going to have to go up and tap into your ability, again, this air element that is associated with our thoughts, associated with that mental space, to go up, get a clear version of your truth that's directly connected to the spiritual space, and to bring that back and to start working with that, to start moving so that you can engage with the same movement that's happening in your external environment. You're really being asked right now to step up on a spiritual level, to evolve at the same speed now that your external environment is evolving. So now I'm going to pull some cards to tell me what's going on in what I call the void. Now, if you'd like to learn more detail about the void, you can click on the first video link, the one that's listed as the visual video link for the Triad of Engagement, in the description box below, and that'll go into more detail about the void. But basically, the void is what we create as we get older, and that is way too many cards, I'm sorry. Continue to shuffle here. Is what we create as we move from childhood into adulthood, and we start to bring out parts of our unique internal spiritual self and connect those with our external environment. And each time we get a less than positive response, we start to build a void. Now, at first, this is a protective barrier. This is, okay, I brought this part of myself out and I didn't get the response I was intending. Maybe it was a negative response. And so I'm going to basically put a layer of masking in between myself and the external environment so that that part of myself can't be hurt again. And what ends up happening is that we continue to do this for years. And at some point in our life, this can become such a large void that we end up not being able to emotionally connect to our external environment because we are no longer bringing any part of our authentic selves out to interact with it. And vice versa, this is where the external environment doesn't seem to reflect who we are as a person. And we can become frustrated. And we can, again, become detached or feel disengaged. And this is what we're basically going to take a look at today, is what fear points or anxiety points are you sitting with that's preventing you right now from getting out there and kind of meeting change head on. Especially coming from a place of being able to really share your truth and communicate from your imaginative space. Aquarius, my brother is an Aquarius, and I always say that he can somehow just pull ideas from the ether and bring them into the physical environment. And I really feel that that is your talent. That is what Aquariuses are here to do. They're here to show us a new way that only they can really see. But then because you are an air sign, you have this beautiful ability to not only use your imagination to see the larger purpose of your connection to spirit, but also being able to then communicate it and bring it down to here. Now, there are times I'm sure that every Aquarius has felt a little misunderstood, mostly because I think what you guys can see in your heads sometimes can be difficult to get across. Or there's the component that it's a new idea, it's an innovative idea, and it's something that people can't quite wrap their minds around the way that you can, because that's your gift. All right, Aquarius. So, see if we can pull a couple additional cards here, getting a pretty good picture of what's going on. Ooh, again, too many cards. Just another one or two. Okay, well, these ones both came out, so I'll bring both of these together. Okay, Aquarius. So let's see here. A lot of swords going on, which is, again, your energy. So there's a lot going on in the mental space. Now, right off the bat, this first card really represents your challenge or your fear point. So the Queen of Swords is a card that harnesses the energy of strength through having actually gone through and survived certain experiences. So the Queen of Swords is one who sits with her truth, but her truth comes from the knowledge that she had to go through some very difficult times, and now she has the ability to learn and speak her truth from that place. This can actually be a shadowy energy when we don't step up into the highest version of this. When instead of sharing our experience from an empowered place of, I got divorced and had to kind of rebuild my life from scratch, but this is what I learned and I'd love to share my story with you, it comes down to, instead, I got divorced and all men or women are terrible. No one should get divorced. No one should ever get married because going through divorce is terrible. So there's this duality to this energy here, but it's actually a very strong energy. It's when you're working with it in its best capacity, it actually is a step up from the Knight of Swords. This is where you are inviting people to come in to hear your truth, to share and partake in the lessons learned. And I think where we can end up having a point of fear around this type of energy is when we have done so in the past and people did not respond well to that. We were trying to share our story. We were trying to come from a place of letting others know what we've gone through. And instead of saying, wow, look how far you've come, look how strong you are, you instead are, people kind of look at you and go, oh, well, that's no big deal. Everybody goes through that at some point. And you're like, yeah, but hey, this is my story. This is important to me. And right here, it is in direct contrast with the King of Pentacles. So the King of Pentacles is about being able to manifest in the physical, tangible world. Basically, being able to create what you want here. And when these two are kind of, at opposition with each other, there's this element of somehow the truth of what you've been through and how you're sharing it is preventing you from really stepping into this place of, I want to say almost like financial authority, like realizing you can be the head of the household, realizing that you have it within yourself to be able to create in a physical way comfort and abundance for yourself. And instead, you're getting mixed up with either one of two things, either the negative stories of the past where you are telling yourself, well, I've never been able to be a provider, and so I can't be one. My past experience has showed when I tried to do that, I failed. And so I'm never going to try to do that again. I'm never going to take on that responsibility again. Or it can be again where perhaps you attempted to share this experience that you went through and you didn't realize that you could actually capitalize on that experience and be able now to utilize that in a tangible way to say, I can take these lessons, not only just share them, but now I can actually build something based off of them. So the Prince of Swords is your crux point here. The Prince of Swords is technically the Knight of Swords. So you have the Knight of Swords again here. And there's this element of wanting to go out there and share your truth, wanting to get on the horse and get back out there. And again, he's going to have a little bit more of a forward energy. The Queen of Swords is one who's going to sit back. The traditional Rider-Waite tarot version of the Queen of Swords is someone who is sitting there with her arm out saying, come, listen to my story, listen to my tale. And the Prince of Swords is not one who's going, as you can see, it's a very different energy. It's instead, I'm going to go out and tell you my story. And I almost don't care if you want to hear it or not, because you're going to hear it. And where I'm seeing this kind of as like the sticking point, the crux, is that you're being asked right now to get over this fear point of the stories from the past. Make sure that you're looking at the lessons learned from a positive place instead of the negative. I'm going to apply these, this can even be down to, I tried to do something and I lost all of my friends at one point in my life. And so I'm going to completely cut myself off from all people because no one understands me. And that's, again, a negative way of viewing this. And instead what you're being asked to do is make sure that you're looking at this from a positive place. Because as we come past basically the Page of Swords, we come into the Five of Swords, then the Queen of Pentacles and the Magician. And the Five of Swords is a card of basically winning at all costs. It's a card where and for me, I look at the Five of Swords as an illusion. It's an illusion that a misunderstanding that everyone is out with their truth, so that you're basically, you have your sword of truth and everybody has their swords of truth. And instead of seeing that everybody can come together and share their truths and work together, you're defensive. You are prepared to battle everybody else's truth, and you are willing to do whatever it takes to come out triumphant, even if that means having to hurt the people you care about the most, or lose friends, or lose jobs. It doesn't matter. And that in the end, you end up hurting yourself just in the attempt at winning. So even though you might be triumphant, it's not a triumph to be celebrated. It's, again, winning at all cost. And sometimes that cost is a high one. And I think this is where, if you can get past this energy, get past this defensiveness around a truth, around the things you've had to overcome and endure, and take it in stride instead of taking it from a place of, again, negativity. Instead of saying, well, I had to go through all of this. To say, I went through all of this to become this, to learn who I am now. Because again, that change of mindset, when you go off to share that, even if you come out and need to share your truth to everybody, hearing inspirational stories are what turn a simple experience into gold. It is the true Rapunzel story of taking, kind of a base material, wool, and actually being able to spin it through your imagination and through your ability to communicate it into gold. And that's what I'm seeing here. This is your challenge right now, is stepping into this energy of the Queen of Pentacles and the Magician. So the Queen of Pentacles is a card that denotes knowing where to put your time and energy and resources, and being able to nurture one aspect of your life in the tangible physical world, and really nurturing it. Putting all of this effort into something that you have confidence will grow into something more. And the Magician, along with that, is teaching you and reminding you that we are all the magicians in our own lives. We get to create the life that we want for ourselves. And we also get to create for ourselves, what we want to put effort into. So there's this component of being reminded that no matter what you've gone through, it didn't rob you of any personal power. It only seasoned and flavored it. In fact, you got a chance to really see what you were capable of. And now with that knowledge, you have the ability to share that in a way with people that does not come across as defensive, and that it's my truth versus your truth. This is not a time to go on to Facebook and be getting into political arguments or religious arguments. This is a time instead to turn that on its head and to say, in my experience, this is what I've been through, and this is what I learned. And that's what opens up people to come and listen. And that's really where I think you guys are being asked to engage with your external environment, because there's going to be something that becomes unlocked within you where you realize how you can capitalize and step into this King of Pentacles energy, where you are reminded that you are the magician. You can create in your life what you want. So if you want to create the stable home life and be the head of the household, or you want to create a lifestyle where you get to travel and be artistic, that's all within your realm to do. You just have to know what that is and put the time and energy to nurture it. But that will come through you sharing your story in a positive way for others to hear. And again, in a way that's inspiring and that's actually calling for people to come and listen, because there's something about what you have the ability to share that is going to elevate their experience, teach them something, and in turn show you where you can actually capitalize on what you've gone through previously and what you have perhaps seen as a negative element, and now that you can turn in to something that can allow you to create a level of abundance in the physical sense for yourself. Okay, so now I'm going to pull cards, 3 cards for curiosity, courage, and contemplation, which is the Triad of Engagement. And I'm going to show how this is going to help you navigate across this void of fear to really help you maximize your engagement right now with the change that's happening in your external environment. So we're going to start with pulling a card for curiosity. And curiosity is the first step in the Triad of Engagement, because this is where we get a chance to re-engage with the feelings of optimism and openness and receptivity. Because when we're thinking about this void, we've created the void as a protective barrier to close us off from engaging our unique, authentic, spiritual, but also vulnerable selves with our external environment. And so the first step in being able to engage again with your environment is opening yourself up to change, opening yourself up to what is beyond your control. and doing so in a way where you get a chance to tap into the beneficial elements of curiosity, which are the seeing the possibilities and the positive what ifs instead of the negative what ifs, and missing opportunities because we are so jaded, because we're like, well, the last time we did that, something bad happened, so I'm not even going to engage. The last time I ate that food, I didn't like it, so I'm never going to try it again. And we end up basically cutting ourselves off from continuing our evolution as a divine spirit. So, for curiosity, we have indecision, number 8. And I always find that this card specifically is very interesting in that it's indecision, but the number 8 specifically, when we look at numerology, talks about personal power. And if we're really tapped into our personal power, we most likely know which way we want to go. It's not really that we're sitting with indecision. It's that we are too afraid to take the first step in moving forward. And oftentimes, the two options, the two roads that we have, we can get into this place of, well, what if one road is not the right road? And in reality, how I see this is it's not about one road or the other. I feel that for us, all roads lead to the same place. So it isn't, so whatever road you're on at any given time is your path. But there are points when we stop moving forward on that path. And for me, I'd look at it as this is not an indecision as to which path to take. This is, you can actually choose to go down the middle. Yeah, there's a tree right here. But you can walk towards this tree and around this tree and go beyond it. You don't have to choose either path if what is in front of you is possibly a better choice. So as a point of curiosity for you guys, I think it's about being open to what's coming in, to not get hung up on, well, I have this decision or this decision. I can only do this job or this job. I can only live here or here. It's a choice between, getting married and being the head of my household, or having a job that I love that will, maybe not make me be the head of the household, but that will provide me with emotional fulfillment. And it's like, no, it's not, life is not one or the other. That's where we can get stuck in this kind of 5 of Swords energy of being very defensive from a mental place of when somebody says, well, why don't you try this? And you're like, no, I can't try that, because if I do, then I have to give up this. And it's like, well, do you? Maybe you can have both. Maybe you can become the head of the household and also work in a job you love. So that's really what I'm seeing here for you as far as curiosity, is to not close yourself off to the fact that there can only be one way or another. The beauty of engaging with our external environment is that we get to engage with the concepts of wonder and awe at how we will never know really what's around the bend. And oftentimes it's not something negative that's around the bend. It's something that is an amazing outcome that we could not have even imagined for ourselves. It's that call from a previous connection who's like, hey, I just started my own business and I was thinking about you and I would love to have you come in and work with me. Or it's that call from a past romantic interest who's like, you know what? I've been thinking about you. I've just moved out to your area and I'd love to go out for a drink. It's those moments that we can't control. And it's those moments that and through engaging with them, unlock the best parts of ourselves. So stay open. I feel for you guys with this coming up that there is going to be kind of something that comes out of left field, especially with the Wheel of Fortune here, that's going to really kind of, again, help unlock a part of yourself through an opportunity you didn't even know was coming in. But again, might miss if you're not keeping yourself open. All right, so now we're going to take a look at courage. And courage is the seat of your personal power. Courage is where you get to take courage in making the decision to take action towards engaging your internal self with your external environment. This is where you actually make the decision to walk across the bridge of curiosity that you've built. It's not enough to just sit and daydream on your side of the bridge and go, ooh, I wonder what it's like on the other side. You actually have to have the courage to take action, to walk across, face these fears, and change your kind of mental habits, the negative thought patterns, to be able to then courageously take action in engaging. So let's see what is going to come out here. Ooh. Courage also helps us remember how to act. Reminds us how to engage with the principles of action, initiation. It's kind of the first steps, and expression. This is actually where we get a chance to courageously start to share our truth, to express ourselves. All right, Aquarius, let's see what is coming up for you in your seat of courage. Are you guys afraid? Like you're being awfully quiet here. Let's see what's going to come up for our Aquariuses. This is kind of a hard deck for me to shuffle. These cards are a little sticky. Aquarius. Oh, there we go. Oh, well, geez. I don't think we can get a better card for courage. It says surrender to miracles. It says be open to miracles occurring in your life. Feel and know that these events are real. Let go of any resistance and banish any doubt that miracles can happen. Absolutely beautiful. So when you're thinking about taking courage to engage with this change, taking courage to start to see other options, taking courage to start to share your story from a place of inspiring optimism and empowerment. Understand that in battling these fears, because sharing your truth in your story is very difficult. It's a very scary concept because you're putting yourself out there in such a vulnerable way. But Spirit is telling you to surrender to miracles. That's the change that's coming in. And this is just what I was talking about with the wonder, the component to engaging with wonder and awe. We don't know what's up around the bend. And the beauty of that is that sometimes it's something so amazing that we have to do our part first to be able to fully appreciate and be open to that miracle. So I hope this gives you the courage to walk across, because man, if there's any card that can do that, that is that is this card. And I think, again, it's that element of let go of any resistance and banish any doubt. You've been through so much and you've seen how far you've come. Don't doubt that Spirit is here to meet you halfway. And that there are those out there who need to hear what you're saying. You might just have to step it up a notch. Perhaps you have been working with sharing a little bit of your truth, and maybe even working with spinning it in a positive way. But now there's a point here that you're being called to really take action, step it up, and realize this is where you invest in yourself, in your story, in your ability to communicate. And you can do that yourself because you are the magician. So pull from all, the beauty of the magician is that you can pull from all elements. You are not just in your head, Aquarius. You are not just an air sign. You have the ability as part of the human experience to pull from all sides to yourself, to tap into your emotional side, to tap into your ability to build something in the physical, tangible world. You have the ability to emotionally connect with yourself and with others. And that's all part of what you're being asked to do as you share, as you start to learn how to share some part of yourself. Okay, now I'm going to pull a card for contemplation. And contemplation is the final step in the Triad of Engagement, and it's our ticket back across the bridge from our external environment back to our internal environment. And this is where we've built the bridge outward. We've taken the courage to walk across that bridge and engage. And now we are going back across that bridge and going inward to reflect and integrate the lessons that we learned from engaging with our external environment. This is the seat of self-education, of continued self-education. A lot of people, I feel like today, are very hung up on, if I don't go back to school, I'm, kind of just stuck at the level that I'm in. And that's not true. The more that we engage through direct experience with our external environment, and the more that that's way too many, sorry guys, the more that we contemplate and use contemplation to be able to learn from direct experience. That's what the Queen of Swords is sharing. She's sharing her direct experience. She's learned. She didn't have to go to college to know what she's learned from living her life. And that's what I feel for you guys, Aquarius, is that there's something here that perhaps you are, maybe even something that you can teach that is going to bring in this prosperity. But you might feel that is, you might not realize that that's something that you can actually teach to others. That you feel like, well, this is just my story. And it's actually a story that I kind of see as negative because I really had to go through it and it was a difficult process. And instead, it's something that in sharing it with the world, you're realizing people are going to come to you and say, well, I've also experienced that. How did you get through it? Teach me. Teach me more about what you know. And that's where you will figure out where to invest your time and energy. And then we have, for contemplation, Sisterhood of the Rose. It says beauty and devotion, priestess, mystic, teacher. Oh my gosh, so interesting that card came up and I didn't even take a look at that. I think really, for me, there is this element of contemplating on what you can teach. Contemplating on this, when you think of a priestess or a mystic or a teacher, this is when people are drawn naturally to somebody who seems to have something otherworldly to share, that has some type of knowledge that they feel they themselves cannot tap into. And I think for you, Aquarius, that's what you're being called to do, is to tap into some aspect of yourself and realize that this is something that others are going to naturally be drawn to in you. And that they're going to need the guidance that you have in the specific area in sharing your experience. And you're going to be that person to help them with that. So this is almost a feeling of leveling up, even though technically you're going from, you're sitting with the energy of the Knight of Swords and the Queen of Swords is a step up. I feel that what this is telling you is that you are the Queen of Swords. Don't take a step back. But what this is saying is go out there and do it. Go out there and share your story, but learn to do so in a way that comes across as the Queen of Swords, not as this brash in your face. It's take his horse and speak like a queen. And this doesn't mean if you're a female or a male, it doesn't matter. This is, you speak from a place of come to hear my story, and I'm going to do so from this very high level. All right, now I'm going to pull a few clarifying cards for your energy and for the external energy, and we'll see if any additional messages want to come out. So you have the Fool, which is beautiful. This is like the cosmic reset, and the Magician. Oh, beautiful, beautiful. Okay, let's see if anything comes out. Oops. So we have these for your external environment, which, oh my God, yes, seriously, the Wheel of Fortune again, and the Ten of Wands. Okay, so in your internal self, in engaging with your external environment, what you're going to unlock for yourself is this fresh start. The Fool is the number 0. It's the 0 point. It is the reset. It's the cosmic kind of rebirth of the soul. And what's beautiful about the Fool is that the Fool goes out without all of the baggage, without the Ten of Wands. So the Ten of Wands is the baggage that we accumulate as we take action and that we think we have to carry. And what this is telling me is that the Wheel of Fortune is turning and asking you to release that baggage and to start back out as the Fool. Start back out with this beginner's mentality. The Fool has full confidence in, full faith in the universe, full faith that he has everything he needs just in himself. And I think it's a beautiful juxtaposition with the Magician, because the Magician, that's the lesson learned with the Magician, is that we do have everything within ourselves. And it's interesting that you're moving from 0 to the number 1. The Magician is technically the first card in the cycle of the tarot, and the Fool is this kind of baseline starting point. So what you're being shown is that you can have faith in yourself. You can have a fresh start, release the burdens of what you've been carrying up until this point, which could be the burdens of, even on a mental level, you know, what you feel that you have to take on yourself. And it's time to put those down, to start fresh and realize you get a chance to create whatever you want for yourself. You get to create the story. You get to retell your experience as you see it. And I think it's interesting, these cards, I don't know if you guys can quite see, but they kind of mirror each other. This looks like a boy that's kind of leaping, but he has his arm brandished up here. And it's very similar. And it's almost like you're being asked to turn this energy that maybe at one point had been kind of in your face and brash and not well received by others into more of this childlike, innocent, truly just blank slate version of, I'm going back out there to have fun and to share and to see things from this beautiful, fresh, childlike perspective, but with the full awareness of what I've gone through and what I'm capable of and what I can create for myself. All right, Aquarius, this has been a fantastic reading. I'm so glad I chose to do this. I oftentimes get inspired just by doing these readings myself. So I am inspired through you and what you're going through, and I can't wait to hear your truth and to hear the stories that you guys are going to release. And I hope you have a fantastic rest of your day, and I look forward to seeing you here for your next Spiritual Connection reading. And if you'd like to book a personal reading or a one-on-one spiritual coaching session, the link to my website is in the description box below. Bye, guys.